Welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking a really fascinating look under the hood of a biotech company called Trevi Therapeutics, or ticker symbol TRVI. We're going to unpack the clinical and financial catalysts driving this company right now as they take aim at a truly devastating unmet medical need. We've got a lot of ground to cover, from trial data to cash runway, so let's just dive right in.
But, before we even look at a single financial metric or corporate milestone, it's absolutely crucial that we ground our analysis in the human reality of this disease. 1,500. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the staggering number of times a patient with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis might cough in a single day. Think about the immense physical toll, the utter exhaustion, and the social isolation that comes with that level of relentless coughing. It's completely debilitating.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the chronic cough crisis itself, then introduce Trevi's proposed solution, Haduvio. After that, we'll dig into their clinical trial breakthroughs, look at their financial war chest, and wrap up with Wall Street's current outlook.
Part 1. The chronic cough crisis. To really grasp the market potential here, you have to look at the massive therapeutic void that exists right now. We are talking about roughly 140,000 U.S. patients with IPF and another 228,000 with non-IPF interstitial lung disease. Well over half of these people are suffering from a violent, uncontrolled cough that isn't just an annoyance. It actually worsens their underlying lung disease and spikes their mortality risk. And the wildest part? Right now, there are 0 FDA-approved therapies for the specific condition. None.
Moving to Part 2. Enter Trevi's Haduvio. So how is Trevi trying to fix this? Well, meet their lead investigational therapy, Haduvio. It's an oral, extended-release formulation of a drug called nalbuphine. Now, here's a really important detail. Nalbuphine is uniquely not scheduled by the DEA right now. That is a huge deal when we're talking about its overall safety profile, because it removes a lot of the prescribing hurdles and friction that could otherwise slow down a future commercial rollout.
Now, you might be wondering, how does it actually work? It acts as a comma. That's a fancy acronym for kappa agonist and mu antagonist. Basically, by using this dual-action mechanism, it targets the specific opioid receptors in both the central and peripheral nervous systems that control the cough reflex arc. The strategy here is to succeed exactly where other mechanisms, like Merck's giggle fixant, for example, have recently stumbled with the FDA.
All right, Part 3. Clinical trial breakthroughs.
Trevi basically put Haduvio to the test across 2 incredibly tough conditions to prove it actually works. On one side, we've got the Phase 2b CORAL trial, which dialed in specifically on IPF-related chronic cough. On the other side is the Phase 2a RIVER trial, targeting refractory chronic cough, or RCC, which is a much broader condition that affects something like 2 to 3 million Americans. And wow, the data coming out of these trials is super compelling. It actually got published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. We're looking at a statistically significant 60.2% reduction in cough frequency for those IPF patients. And for the RCC patients, a massive 67% drop in cough frequency from baseline. Haduvio is literally the first and only investigational therapy to show a statistically significant reduction across both of these specific patient groups. That is a major differentiator.
Okay, let's pivot to Part 4, Trevi's financial war chest.
Because, let's be real, a great drug needs serious cash to survive the FDA gauntlet. Looking at their Q1 2026 balance sheet, Trevi is sitting incredibly pretty. They ended the quarter with $171.8 million in cash and marketable securities. Now that's stacked against a quarterly net loss of $13.2 million, but that burn rate is totally expected. It's largely driven by the heavy R&D expenses required to ramp up their massive Phase 3 clinical trials.
So what's the so what of all those numbers? It means they have incredible financial runway. Following a recent public stock offering that pulled in about $162 million in net proceeds, Trevi officially extended its cash runway deep into 2030. For a clinical stage biotech, that is a dream scenario. It means they have the secure funding to run their operations right through potential FDA approval without having to panic about raising more capital anytime soon.
And they aren't just hoarding cash, they're strategically building the corporate infrastructure to deploy it. Alongside that $162 million offering, they brought on David Hastings as their new chief financial officer. Hastings is a biotech veteran with over 25 years of experience in capital raising and commercialization, including scaling up companies like Insight. He's exactly the kind of guy you want navigating this specific growth phase.
Finally, Part 5. Wall Street's bullish outlook.
Let's look at how the street is digesting all of this.
Right now, based on a consensus median price target of $24, there's a nearly 40% implied upside compared to where the stock has been recently trading around $17.21.
You don't see this kind of unanimous agreement every day. We're looking at 10 buy ratings across the board. 0 analysts saying hold, 0 saying sell. The high target even stretches up to $30 from Raymond James. It's a remarkably unified sentiment that really highlights the market's confidence in Haduvio's commercial potential.
So what's next on the horizon? Trevi is stepping right into a massive, high-execution catalyst window. In Q2 of 2026, their pivotal Phase 3 IPF and Phase 2b RCC trials kick off. Then, as we move into the back half of 2027 and the first half of 2028, we hit the real inflection points, the top-line results from those exact trials.
Which leaves us with the ultimate binary question that every clinical-stage biotech investor has to ask. Will this promising therapy navigate those final regulatory hurdles to bring much-needed relief to patients and, in turn, serious value to shareholders? The trials are fully funded, the early data is undeniable, and the execution phase is officially underway. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this explainer today. Stay curious, and I'll catch you next time.